One.
Jeremy Clemens.
Ford Mustang TT4.
Dominant fashion, Kylie Glenn.
Yeah. Area 51 podcast. This is Cap Houston right here. Bobby, what you got for me?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Bobby. We've got Dave in the building. How you doing, sir?
Doing well, doing well. Sunny at 75 down here in North Carolina.
I got to rub it in, don't you?
I do every week.
It's 44 degrees here in not sunny Florida anymore.
Welcome back to the Ohio.
Yep, the oh-hee-ho. So Rob's not going to be able to make it tonight. His wife is back home, but they had an emergency. Rob, get well, or Jen, get well soon. Rob, we'll see you next week. Tonight we have Rick Armstrong. How you doing, sir?
Good evening. How's everybody?
Doing good.
I'm in
well,
sunny Texas where the wind always blows.
And the tornadoes whistle.
And the tornadoes whistle. That's what keeps us up at night.
Oh, speaking of that, me and Bobby watched the show, and I forgot to ask Bobby what he thought about it on Netflix. The new Twister documentary that went through Missouri. That if you guys haven't seen that, that is a good, probably
Yeah.
90 minutes.
I was not going to say, I was meant to say something to you earlier, but if you have not watched it, go watch it. Because Adrian and I, we were eating dinner. I paused it, took the plate over, dropped it in the sink, came back and pushed it as I was getting ready to sit back down, and I was glued to the TV the rest of the night.
I hate shows like that. That makes me not want to sleep at night because it's too close to home. Just saying, it's too close to home here.
Yeah. So, Rick, tell us about yourself and all your companies.
Sure. Yeah. Hey. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for the invitation. Area 51, you guys, what you do for Jeremy is incredible. He is incredible human being, and what I consider to be a very good friend of mine. And I thank you very much for what you do and for inviting me on tonight. I've been racing probably my whole life. I was telling you guys a little bit earlier before the show. My dad was a racer, and so my sister was born on the way to the racetrack. And then basically he went into the restaurant business and got a little too busy for racing. But as quickly as he could get back to it, he drugged me. He gave me the choice, guys. He said, you can stay at home. And here we have, FFA and all the other things that the kids do while they're in school, play football, play whatever it is that they play. Or you can get in the truck with me and go to the racetrack. Which one do you want to do? So I immediately got in the truck and I went with him to the racetrack. So, I was telling you guys, I started out as an auto mechanic. Found out girls didn't like guys with fast cars. Girls like guys with fast cars. They just didn't like guys with dirty fingernails. And so I was like, I like girls, so I need to figure out a way to be a mechanic without getting my fingernails dirty, and went into aviation and been doing that about 40 years. And I've really kind of put together a full circle of companies that deal primarily corporate jet, commercial jet wise. So I always say props go on boats. So if, no offense to anyone listening that owns an airplane with a prop, but they're not really airplanes. Real airplanes have turbine fan motors. So everything we deal with all has jet engines. I'm a jet engine freak. So we've got Henderson Jet is one of our companies, as you probably saw. If you watched the COTA race, we introduced Henderson Jet first on the 51 car. It is our parts distribution company. And what we are is we are the aftermarket parts sales for Bombardier aircraft. So anything that deals with the Challenger aircraft or the Global, which is, if you know that world, it's basically the competitor of the G5, G550, G650. The Challenger 300 is the same as a G280 in that family range. So we handle all the aftermarket parts sales. We buy corporate jets, disassemble them, and basically put those parts back in the market. I've got another company that does all the engineering support that if you want to modify your airplane to take it from one of our best mods to, believe it or not, is putting a seat belt on the toilet. Okay.
Wow.
Somebody goes, why do you need a seat belt on a toilet? The flight crew needs a place to sit during takeoff and landing. So it's a seat not taken. So they sit there and buckle up, and it's what the FAA considers to be a safe place for takeoff and landings. And so that's what our engineering company does. We write, variances for modifications, not only to the entire aircraft, but we also do it on piece parts for the aircraft. I know we were talking earlier about cars. And so if you wanted to do a modification to your car, well, you can just do it. With an airplane, you got to have, the rule is that when the paperwork, when the paper weighs as much as the part is airworthy, because you have to have all this documentation that has to be approved by the FAA. So that's what that company does, is it goes through and gets all the certification, justifications, everything on a modification. That there's a lot of cations in there. Did you notice that? But it gets through all that stuff and stacks up the paperwork about that high, and then you can actually modify your airplane. That's the engineering. We got a buy and sell arm. So if we need to buy an airplane, we can do that. And then we have our composite shop, which is Evans Composites, that basically repairs everything from tip to tail on the airplane. And we do work for all the bigs, American, United. We do a big program with Boeing on a very famous airplane that I can't tell you the name of, but it's very recognizable when the president's around. And so we support programs from that side with our composite shop. And then I guess the last thing we've got is our manufacturing company, where we manufacture machine parts for the military. And we make everything from a link that goes on the front end of a Hummer to cannon followers. Probably the coolest thing that I've seen we make this year was the actual gear that turns the belt of the ammunition into that big 50 cal on the front of an Apache helicopter.
Okay.
So it's the gear that actually turns, that feeds that belt into that gun, so it can shoot at an extremely high rate. So yeah, that manufacturing, anything that can be turned on a mill, anything be turned on a lathe, we make all of those products. So yeah, kind of a wide variety of different things, but they're still all in that aviation sector.
Now, I know Bobby is more into the aviation side of it. But, for me being, I hop on an airplane, by going through a door. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but you would never think that something as easy as putting a seatbelt in somewhere would need engineering. But I talk to Bobby all the time, and he is getting certified for this, certified for that. He's to touch this, he's got to have this amount of hours of prepping and learning and that stuff, and very proud of him. But like you said, even working with say the ammunition side of it, that's still got to be passed through FAA. Even
Absolutely.
even though it's a war machine,
Yeah.
it's not I always think of FAA and I think, all right, that's a passenger jet, but for, because, you see things out of the original Area 51 and you go, well, they probably don't have FAA regulations. Well, that's probably where it rolls down from is, all right, well, we made this work. All right, we'll introduce it and, here's a new set of rules.
That's exactly right. So the military is kind of a wild, wild west of away from the FAA. However, the specifications that the military provides is the same rule book. It's just got a different name at the top of it, and you have to meet or exceed the requirements of that. Much like that turret I was talking to you about earlier. I'm sorry, the gear I was talking about earlier is the gear has to be soldered or brazed to the shaft, and it has to be able to withstand 2,000 pounds of shear strength. So we have to actually take that out to a machine and twist that gear on while holding the shaft steel and measure the tension that's required for that thing to break. Now, I'll be honest with you, the ones that we do at 10,000 tensile strength, it doesn't break. In fact, it breaks the shaft before it breaks the weld. But it's still, that's the specifications that's required in order to do it. And so the military, I mean, NASA's been a big part of this in developing a lot of the stuff that we now see on the commercial jets. We do thrust reversers, and I believe it's the 757 thrust reverser. There is what is called an ablative coating that goes on the inside of the thrust reverser where all the heat hits. That is the same coating that was developed by NASA to put on the tiles of the space shuttle.
Okay.
So it's just crazy how you see things that the military has developed push through down into the commercial world.
Now, Bobby, I kind of shed a little light on what you do. You're more in the helo
No,
division.
I'm more in like the painting and stuff like that. But yeah, we do have helicopters that come in, and also what he was talking about my certification is I just took my non-destructive testing for NDT for fluorescent penetrant and just passed.
PT.
So.
Yep. So sorry guys, let me mute this phone. Otherwise, people are texting me. So for X-ray for non-destructive testing to what is it? AST 410, I believe, is the specification.
NAS 410 and
NAS 410,
yeah.
So it is 3,000 hours to qualify, and there are levels: level 1, level 2, level 3. Just to become a level 1 X-ray technician, you have to have 3,000 logged hours just to qualify for a level 1. And so I assure you that X-ray technician at the doctor's office doesn't have that many hours logged.
No, actually, I went last time. I thought I had tore my Achilles, and the lady put me on the wrong leg. Yeah, I said no, it's this one that hurts.
And it's swollen. Yeah.
Right. And, I figured, all right, well, we were just gonna, play mix and match and all right, we're gonna see what the left one looks like. We're gonna see what the right one looks like. And she's like, no, this is, protecting you from the X-ray. And I went, that's the wrong damn leg. So so how much is this visit gonna cost me? It doubled now since you took care of both legs. Did you find anything in the one that doesn't hurt?
So that's kind of what we do. So we launched with HJS because frankly, it is got the biggest presence within the NASCAR community. Most people don't understand that there are more corporate jets at a NASCAR event than any other sporting event in the US at any given time. And so we service a lot of those folks. And so when we decided to, and talk to, Steve Carnes, who actually brought me into this mix, because I bought a paint booth and he helped me in that process. He said, "Hey, I know that you were doing some stuff with Spire last year. Would you consider doing something with Jeremy?" And so, uh, next thing you know, we're signed up and doing Coda with Jeremy. So it was a great event, though.
But
500 start.
yeah, I mean that in itself is, a huge monument, and a lot of publicity for not only HJS but for Jeremy, and I was kind of joking on, with these guys and with my family, how many times is your last name on a car that's your driver and is his 500 start? I said that's absolutely crazy. So, I had to get some of the merch, and as you can see me, I got a lot of sheet metal around. Fortunately, he didn't knock the doors off of that car.
No,
Uh,
I
so
know. Yeah.
so I wasn't able to get, some of my sheet metal sheriff, bounty, but I was definitely looking for it.
Well, that's great. I told Jeremy, I said, now, anything damaged on the car, we want to make sure that it's preserved because I'm sure there are going to be people that want that. And he struggled with, the car was loose. We had trouble during practice. Had a power steering line that broke, and then the power steering line they put on had a hole in it. And so we were fortunate that another car actually let us borrow a high pressure line. But he only got to make like 2 laps, and then bam, it's qualifying. And car swapping ends with him. So he struggled the entire race with just the car being loose. And I tell you what, he still wheeled it to a decent finish, just having a car that wasn't drivable. And so, yeah, all in all, it was a great time for. We used it as a corporate event for our employees. We were able to get quite a number of tickets for folks to sit in the grandstands, and so we had all of our employees out and sat in the stands, enjoyed the show, watched the race. A lot of them was first time NASCAR people. And that's what I really wanted to do. It was a lifelong dream for me to have our name on a NASCAR. And so we were able to actually do that. And so it was a bucket list item for me. It also introduced NASCAR to a lot of our employees and our customers. My business partner that I have at Henderson Jet, he called me, I think it was the Thursday before the race. He goes, "I need a media guy for all this NASCAR stuff." He said, "I'm being called from guys from Canada wanting hero cards. What the hell's a hero card?" So
Oh,
I had to explain to him. And so, in fact, I talked to him this week. He was still mailing hero cards out. So, yeah, it was a big deal to everyone that's a 51 fan.
yeah, and there's more of us than you would think.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
when we started this podcast, we went, all right, are we the only three that are this emotionally attached to, Jeremy Clements, who isn't a quote unquote household name, but he should be at, the amount of starts. He's got 2 wins, but he's a mid packer. He doesn't have the big representation that, Earnhardt or Colleague and everybody that he's running around with. Usually you see Jeremy's car when he's behind or in front of one of those cars. And, we were like, we had no idea that we would have, thousands of subscribers, to our YouTube channel, and all the people that were watching us and all the support that Jeremy gets on a week to week basis is really mind blowing.
Well, and that's what upset me about Saturday's race is that he's running 14th and gets basically in a bad place and had to, miss a wreck, which caused him to hit the wall. TV never mentioned his name.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, he just hit the wall and you don't even say anything?
Yep. I noticed that too.
Come on.
I'm like, if he would have went down instead of up, they would have never even, shown the car.
No.
But he gets pinched into the corner. And I was kind of, MFing the TV. I'm like, all right, well, if he would have went down, would he have got collected? Or, and he ended up with a great, finishing position anyways, which was good that it didn't take him out. But at the same point in time, I did notice what you were saying is, there's two cars on the wall.
He's not the driver that will Austin Hill you.
I get it.
And because of that, I think and it has a lot to do with budget. You know what I'm saying? These hired shoes that fill a seat are good drivers, but those guys don't have to write a check at the end of the weekend to fix their car.
Yep.
Tony and Jeremy have to worry about, how much does that fender cost? How much does that, whatever it is, cost? And so he is very strategic in the moves that he makes and the positions that he puts his car in.
Yeah, very much. He's hardly ever the guy that will put a bumper to somebody,
Right.
unless it's very well deserved, or if he's not getting the respect that he deserves.
We need some new equipment. I mean, frankly, we need a new chassis. We need some additional chassis in the shop. I mean, the big guys are they back in the day, there were companies you could go to that everyone went to that you bought your chassis from. Okay. Holman Moody was one of those companies back in the day where everybody went to buy their chassis from. Those places really don't exist anymore. And so the big teams with big budgets, big sponsorships build most of their chassis all in-house. And so we, the 51 team has to wait until they are willing to sell one of those chassis before it's available to come down the line. But it's, how life is when you're trying to race because you like to, not because it's a job.
And what was it? Which race was it, Bobby? Was it Daytona? We were super stoked that he got a new, what was it, Speedway car?
Yeah.
And we got a picture of it from Jamie over at Elite Towing. It was on the back of the tow truck. He's like, we got ourselves a Speedway car, boys.
Yeah, it was going to R&D.
Yeah. And we were super excited, and we got a hell of a finish at Daytona. When Jeremy can get the right equipment and the setup almost right on, he's right up there with the rest of the guys.
Well,
Yeah,
both
he's
I
a-
should say this or not, but we're
Hey.
standing at Coda watching Connor Zillick, and he is just putting down some stupid laps. And I turned to Jeremy and I said, damn, that kid's talented. He goes, I just want to drive his car. So that tells you right there that, talent only gets you so far. It's like golfing. I don't know if you guys play golf or not,
Yep.
but if they say equipment doesn't make a difference, they're lying.
Yes, sir.
Equipment does make a difference.
Absolutely.
The only golfing I've ever did was Army style.
Yeah. Left, right, left, right. Yeah. I got you.
Where the hell did that ball go? 3 sleeves later, right?
That's why they sell balls and sleeves and don't sell singles, man. I'm telling you, you buy them by the dozen. You don't worry about it then.
And I've told Rob and Dave this multiple times. For some odd reason, I wish Jeremy and Junior Motorsports could partner up just for a couple seasons or something. I guarantee you, Jeremy wins multiple races a year.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
he's
we
running
found,
Hendrick Motors, so that's a step in the right direction.
Right.
And all it takes is money.
well, in his early careers, he was good enough to test the cars for, Joe Gibbs Racing. I mean, that tells you his talent. And, unfortunately, and I know we can only say so much, publicly, but, mom and pops, the pocketbook's only, so thick.
That's right.
And unfortunately, in today's day and age, that's what gets you in the number 8 car.
Yep.
Well,
And-
yeah, that's exactly right. It's, what sponsor can you bring? And you see that in junior motorsports. It doesn't appear to be as apparent this year, with the exception of probably a couple of drivers, but it's pretty much, if you got a sponsor that will bring enough money, you can drive one of those cars. You need to be talented. He doesn't want a back of the pack guy out there wrecking people, but if you're a decent driver and have got a good sponsorship, you can get one of those rides. And it's usually an ancestor of someone with lots of money, either parents own a large filling station chain or a gas station chain, or something along those lines. But yeah, you can get in those for what I call rent-a rides.
And I'm sorry if my camera's shaking. My cat has decided that it wants to lay and play under my
Sure.
under the camera.
I thought you were getting excited.
Rick, can you tell us about how you got involved in racing?
Oh boy. I don't think we have that much time on the podcast, do we?
Yeah, enough time.
Okay. Well, like I was telling you guys back in the beginning, my dad was a racer. He was an NHRA guy, so I grew up on the drag strip, and then probably in my early teens, he bought 3 different tracks, and so he took care of all the concessions, and he had another partner that took care of operations. So kind of grew up in that, caught the bug, and then we would watch NASCAR on the weekends. I remember 1969, I was 4 years old. My dad took me to the Texas Theater, which is, yes, the same Texas Theater that John Wilkes Booth, the guy, or not Booth, good Lord, I stepped back too far, didn't I? Lee Harvey Oswald that killed Kennedy.
Mhm.
I'm not that old, guys. I just pretend to be. But it's the same theater Lee Harvey Oswald was captured in after the Kennedy assassination. And what they would do back in those days, the Indianapolis 500 wasn't actually televised. The Daytona 500 wasn't televised. So you would have to go to places like that had closed circuit television service, and they would actually watch the race. And so my dad took me the first time to Indy 500 race on closed circuit television at the Texas Theater. And that was much more exciting than watching cars go a quarter of a mile at a time. And so just got hooked on NASCAR, and basically have been a devoted NASCAR guy my entire life. So getting the opportunity, and so how I got to advertising with NASCAR, believe it or not, was a Facebook post.
Really?
The guy that handles all the sales for Spire posted something on Facebook that said, "Have you ever considered advertising on a NASCAR?" So I reached out to him and started conversations, and they really never gained any traction because there was a lot of stuff going on at Spire. And so this year, Steve came to me knowing that I had an interest in that, and that's what got me on to Jeremy's car. But my wife and I have been going to NASCAR events forever. All the way back. I know we were at the 1993 Die Hard 500 at Talladega. It was probably the hottest race I've ever been at. It was typical July in Talladega, and they took out the front stretch fence, which caused about an hour and a half delay on the race because they had to repair the fence. And
Oh,
boy,
wow.
did it tick the drunks off because they had already closed the beer stands down. And so, but it was hot. It was so hot. We were going up to the water fountains and taking the t-shirts we'd bought at the trucks, filling them up with water, bringing them back, pushing them over our heads, and then hanging it over our heads, waiting till the end of the race. So, yeah, it was a good race experience, but man, it was a hot race.
Yep.
Hey.
I can tell the same story about Talladega where, me and my ex-wife went for the whole weekend, and by Sunday after the race, we actually had to stop by medical on the way out because we were so dehydrated and sunburnt that we needed fluids and we needed aloe because we drank about as much water as you could drink. It was not enough. It was not enough. And what was silly about it is we got there Friday for, I think it was the ARCA series was running. And we didn't know about the trolleys yet. So we were parked way in turn 4. Well, to get into Talladega is almost all the way to what entry of turn 1. So we were walking, as the crow flies, probably 3 miles. So we were tired before we got to the track. And then to sit in the scoring sun for, an hour, and then we were like, oh, where the hell are those, I think it was like lawnmowers with wagons behind it. And we're like, where are they going? They're like, oh, they take people back to the campground. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. That's
That is terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I can only imagine.
but it was by far. I've been to a lot of NASCAR tracks. Probably one of the most beautiful tracks I've ever been to.
It's a beautiful place. We were in Bristol last year. That was a good race to be a part of, but my God, it was loud.
Yeah.
I mean, even sitting with headsets on with intercom systems, you can't hear each other. That's the loudest place I've ever been in my life. That is a beautiful setting, though, and it is a trip worth taking if you ever get the chance. Anybody listening, if you haven't been to Bristol, you need to make that trip. Tickets aren't as hard to get as they once were. So used to, you had to get on the waiting list a year in advance to get into Bristol, but it's not as bad as it once was. I blame television for that. Just all the coverage, you don't have to go to the track anymore. And so, and I'll be honest with you, the track doesn't do anything to bring you to the track. There's no practice anymore. It's just a different experience now, post COVID.
I know Bristol's on our bucket list, so I'm thinking maybe next year we'll go to Bristol. But I think the I've only been to a couple tracks, like I was telling you before, Michigan and Pocono. And I would say Michigan was probably 25% better than Michigan was 25% better than Pocono.
So we were at the Richmond race when Clint got in trouble for accidentally spinning out. You guys remember that race?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. When Michael Waltrip Racing all got in trouble. It was basically the end of Michael Waltrip Racing. My wife and I were at that. We went there for her 60th birthday party. That's what she wanted to do, was go to Richmond for her birthday. That's a great wife, isn't it? A great wife, guys.
Heck
yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a great way. You know, people don't, they say racers, they're a different breed, you know, you got to watch those racers. To me, racing folks are probably the most patriotic, God-fearing, caring group of people out there. Um, you, you know, we live in the Dallas Fort Worth area, so I can go to a Dallas Cowboy game, I can go to a Texas Rangers game, I can go to a Dallas Mavericks game, you name it, I can go to that professional sports. There is not a more caring group that will go to the track together and go tailgate together. And if you're in an RV and you need to borrow something, you can go get it. You can leave your RV unlocked and nobody will touch anything because the guy over here's probably got a gun and will take care of whoever comes around messing with your stuff.
Especially in Texas.
Oh,
Right.
by far. Yeah, by far. That's a given. But yeah, that racing people and people that love racing. My wife, I'm actually a pastor at a church, believe it or not, but the my wife will tell her friends is that you will not find a bigger God-fearing patriotic bunch than the racing fan.
And we're very brand loyal, you know, and
Yes.
you know, like you know, what got me truly into the number 51 was completely by accident. You know, we have in Charlotte, it's called the Rise Guys, and they said, you know, we have the driver of the 51, you know, Xfinity car, you know, Jeremy Jugs Clements, you know, coming on, and he's a regular there, especially if they're racing in Charlotte. You know, he comes on to the radio and he messes around, and you know, I really got to like him. But I was a 51 fan from Kyle Busch. Well, Kyle Busch, you know, sold Interstate batteries. Well, guess what's in my car right now? An Interstate battery. You know, my favorite candy, Skittles. You know, you know, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, if you're a Dale Jr. fan, you drink Budweiser. You're going to pass on the Miller Lite because that's for Rusty Wallace. You know,
Correct.
you know, and it's crazy that you see it and you believe it and you bleed it. You know, kind of like you said, it's, you know, patriotic and you're loyal, and you know, your driver is your driver, and you'll fist fight over it if you have to.
Oh, yeah. Well, and with the 51, what's funny is I was watching uh the Pocono, or I'm sorry, the Winter Nationals, NHRA Winter Nationals this weekend, and Rick Ware Racing is also into NHRA Top Fuels. And guess what number his top fuel car is?
It's 51.
Yep, 51.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Brickware Racing is, I'm kind of fortunate to be here in the Charlotte area, but probably one of the coolest showrooms.
Is it really?
Oh, because Rick, he's into everything from IMSA cars to, you know, he was Formula One for a little bit, you know, drag racing. All that stuff is in his showroom. And you just walk in and go, that is absolutely amazing. And they're all 51.
Pate has invited us out to Charlotte for the Memorial Day race. We have full intentions of being out there, and we're going to go early because I've been to Charlotte on business trips and gone to the NASCAR museum and done some stuff like that by myself. But this time I want to take my wife out, go out about a week early, go to the different race shops and just see, you know, everything from, you know, welcome to Charlotte to wherever all the race shops are, and be a part of the action for that week.
Yeah, just fly right into Mooresville Airport and you're right in the middle.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
I'm
fun.
definitely Dave. Remind me about going to Rick Ware Racing when we get there, because I kind of want to see that now.
Well, it's only about 3 buildings down from the North Carolina Racing Hall of Fame.
Oh, really?
So it's on the same drive as Rusty Wallace. Uh, what is it? Simpson is right across the street.
So I drove right past it last time.
Yeah. I think
I was
Rouse.
in Rusty Wallace Incorporated's driveway taking
Yeah.
pictures with Google or Goo Goo Gaga and over freaking Rusty's shit.
Yep. And
Wouldn't
then
admit that. You know, I'm just saying I wouldn't admit that.
I look, I was a Harry Gant fan. He retires. Go to Rusty Wallace, root for Rusty. Then I go to Jimmy Johnson, and now I root for Jeremy and I root for Brad Kozlowski.
I thought you were gonna say the other guy.
Yeah.
No, you guys
Okay.
just say I look like him, which I still don't see it.
I'm glad you don't. I couldn't do this podcast if you look like him.
Rick, he thinks I look like Denny Hamlin.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything.
Do I really?
You don't have his gopherish teeth, but yeah.
You could definitely be in the Hamilton family, somewhere in the Hamlin family, I would say. You
I
may
have
be
a
a
picture
distant
side by
cousin.
side with him,
Yeah,
and these guys are just like, no, you look identical.
yeah,
If
yeah,
I can pull the picture up while you're talking, I'll show you.
yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
needs to. Nobody needs to see that, Bobby. Yeah,
yeah.
where's the
My
family friendly
question is
episode?
does Bobby whine as much?
No, I seen Dave's face. He's like, oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna plead the fifth on that one.
So, is there any other races that you're looking at being on Jeremy's car this year?
We'll be at the Texas race.
Okay.
We're an associate sponsor on the car at Texas. And then I'm working with Steve and Jeremy now on a couple more races this year, and then we'll see what next year looks like. I was telling you guys earlier, I had actually had stepped down as CEO of my group of companies, thinking that I would be able to get on the road more and be at the track more, and I guess the board of directors decided they wanted me back as the CEO again. So I've had to step back up into that role, which has taken quite a bit of my free time away. So, but our intentions are to try and help Jeremy as much as possible over the next 2 years.
Well,
Awesome.
we definitely appreciate your patronage towards our beloved 51 group.
And if you guys have a real airplane, one without props, you can reach out to iFly HGS, and you can do that anyway. It's always a cool place to go if you want to Google over some airplane parts. It's
I-
it's really cool.
I was actually on it today to
Yeah.
see if you guys still had some of the, well, even like the polos or something like that. That was having the last name Henderson. I'm like, it'd really be cool to have Henderson Jet Services. And I'm like, that's, to me, that's just cool.
What size are you?
What's that?
What size are you?
Large, sir.
A large. All right, I'll see what I can't dig up for you.
All right, I do
Find
appreciate that.
something. Yeah. It's always cool to have your name on a shirt.
It
So
is.
the name of the company, just to give you guys a little back. So I had a friend named Charlie Henderson. Well, still do. He hadn't died, but
Sorry.
yeah, exactly. The way I made it sound was that he was dead or something, but no, Charlie's still around. He and his wife Darla and I were partners, and that's where the name came from. He had Henderson Jet Services, and in 2019, he and I partnered up together in Henderson Jet Services. And then he retired about 2 years ago, and I bought the naming rights out of him and kept it Henderson Jet Services. So that's where the name comes from.
Very cool.
Yeah. It was real cool when we were on the side of the car. I sent pictures to him because they're NASCAR fans as well, and sent him pictures of the car. He was stoked. Actually, his wife said he cried a little bit.
It's touching. Even, we were able to do the, smaller associate sponsor, but there's something about having a piece of you on the car. And, it's cool. It's real cool to know that you work so damn hard to do it and you're able to, support something you truly do love.
Told my business partner, I said, look, we're going to be the primary sponsor on the car for Austin. And this is why we're doing it. And if we do it and you don't get anything out of it, I'll pay for it out of my pocket. And he said, okay. After the race, I said, how much I owe you? He goes, not a thing. Best fun I've had in my life.
Yeah.
He says, what I need to do now is go back and figure out how to make more money so we can do this more often.
Right.
I said, Jeremy will appreciate that.
Yeah, and like you said, it was the, I know, being down in this area, all the private jets from, just about every major team, and not including drivers that have their own personal jets, just the shaking hands and having the name recognition out there will pay dividends.
Takes more than one time. And that's what, you got to understand. If you commit to something like this, you need to do it 2 or 3 times because, much like the fans are dedicated to a brand, the owners and drivers are dedicated to a brand as well. And so if you're coming in and supporting them, they turn around and support you. But they've been tricked enough in their life where they know that one time Charlie comes in and it's one-sided. And so we didn't do it to really gain exposure for the company per se. We did it to support Jeremy, and we did it to give our employees something to talk about. And frankly, we added a lot of content for our social media stuff, for what we do at trade shows, things like that. It's always attention getter.
Yep, I started following you guys right before the car was officially revealed, just because we kind of had we kind of get a little heads up on things that are upcoming, and Bobby will share that with you here in just a little bit, some upcoming things. But yeah, I searched it up, did my history lessons, started liking you on Facebook, seeing all the cool stuff that you guys share out on there. And me being a average civilian and not in the, I wouldn't say big boy games, but when you look at it and go, this is absolutely amazing, because it did. It went from HJS to, seeing your other, companies as well. It was just kind of like a round in a circle. I'm like, all right, well, he sources the parts, he builds the parts, he's got the planes, it's a complete circle. I said that's the way to do it if you're gonna do it.
The circle of life of airplanes is what I call it. But if you go to APG, the overall brand is Aero Parts Group. But if you go into aeropartsgroup.com, and it's Aero, AERO, not a freaking bow and arrow. But you go to aeropartsgroup.com, you'll see all the family of companies that are involved in it. I tell you, following Evans is a great place to go and look and see. And if you have any juice about you on airplanes, our marketing guy puts out a lot of good content of stuff that's going on in the shop, parts that are being fixed, how they get fixed, all those things like that. So it's a great place to check out as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big, because I like things that move and like things to operate. I was watching a little tutorial on the turbine engine that was being built, and not knowing a quarter of what he was saying, but it was making somewhat logical sense in my brain that it is still a combustion engine. So I have to dumb things down to my knowledge and go, yeah, I think I can figure out how that works. And I'm
Combustion
going,
engine sucks, bangs, and blows. Okay.
Gotta
Same
have,
thing with a jet engine. It sucks, bangs, and it blows.
yep,
It's just instead of pushing pistons, it's pushing blades.
yep.
So same
That's
thing.
air, fuel, and combustion. That's all you
That's
gotta
it.
have.
That's it. So that's fine. Well, gentlemen, I have got to run to my next appointment. I appreciate your time this evening. Man, you guys are doing a great job on your show, and I know I'm looking forward now to being a subscriber to it. So I'll be keeping an eye on you for what you got going on coming next.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, you bet. Well, I'm gonna bow out.
All right, thank you, Rick. I appreciate your time, sir.
All right, no problem. Talk to you
Talk to you
soon.
soon.
Bye bye.
All right, so that was segment one, brought to you by Alliance Drive Away Solutions. So
I think we could have probably talked for another half hour.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. If not an hour, because I'm over here. I like this stuff. The aviation is what I love. So I have questions, and I will
Right.
pick his brain one of these days about those questions.
Right. You text me with, pictures of paint work and this, that, and the other, and how thick it's gotta be to how light it's gotta be, and just,
Yep.
all the little intricate parts, and that's all interesting to me. And then he opens up a whole new era of, all right, once Bobby gets done painting it, this is what goes into it, and I go,
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's the side I don't tell you about
right.
because
Yeah.
I
And
would
then
I would lose you within 5 minutes of telling you.
right, and then you show me a picture of a helo that's out on the pad that you guys just got done, pinstriping or whatever you were doing to it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, that's awesome, you know. And then not to mention working
Summer
right next, not
summer days, man.
right, not to mention when you send me videos of F-18s because you're right next to a military base, you know, you're like, hey, guess what I saw while I was eating lunch today. You
You're
know,
right.
like what? I saw a Cadillac rolling on dubs, and in downtown Gastonia, saving up to buy rims for my Regal, and you're sitting next to Hornets and Raptors.
Right. So while we're talking about awesome things, I'm gonna
Right.
share this awesome stuff. I hope you guys are ready because I'm excited. Um, so I'm gonna just show you guys. So all right, so we're on Harrison's page. You're gonna scroll down here. You're gonna click. They have merch now for Jeremy's Throwback. So hop over to harrisonsusa.com. Go get yourself a shirt. They got black and green, $24.99. For those, they look absolutely amazing. Also, Dave, you ready?
As ready
That
as I can be.
I know I am. Everybody, go get your checkbooks out. Go get the money. Go get the wad of cash. Start throwing it towards Circle B or Lionel, and go get those Jeremy Clemens pre-sale throwback cars. They're gonna be coming out this week. We were told to make that announcement, so I'm gonna post about it tomorrow. But you guys hear it here first. Go get yourselves your diecast when they
Right.
go live
And
because
you
they're doing pre-sale and we got to get so many of them done.
and you got a still of that car, Bobby? Show them what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, I do. Give me 1 second.
Now, Jessica, if I don't hear that you're buying at least two, I'm
She's
gonna
buying
be.
one.
Oh, she's already got one. All right.
She's going to. There you go.
Right.
That's what that car will look like.
You talk about an awesome car. That's
It's very sharp looking, and that is to the 1985 Harry Gant throwback. So I believe I'm not sure if they're going to be autographed or not, but if they are, or if they're not, go get them. I mean, absolutely, these things are absolutely fantastic looking.
yeah. And
The
we
shirts
need
will look
the continued support because they keep running these at a limited, and we need to keep buying them. I know, a new one comes out every, year, maybe two a year if,
Right.
he, like when he ran, Daytona and won, we kind of got lucky. But, for these to keep being in production for Jeremy and help him sponsor his cars, we really need to step it up and, help with the pre-sale of these so we can get them rocking and rolling.
Look,
So we're able to get new ones in the future.
this is what I'm excited about the paint scheme, but I'm really excited to have this.
Right.
Goodyear's 100 years. I
Yep.
mean, tell me that ain't sharp looking.
I've had my eye out and nobody's got them for sale yet.
They haven't been ran yet.
Well, I'm looking to get a damn pre-order. Come on. I know on eBay there's got to be one out there.
I mean, I'll trade you I'll get the Brad Kozlowski tire you got, and you can get that. That way you don't have more tires.
You can never have more tires of being retired tires.
Right.
This is Dave's retired tire
There you go.
kingdom.
Dave's retired tire emporium.
Where tires become to retire. I almost got tongue tied.
I know you
damn
did.
near couldn't talk for a minute.
So, anyways, I told Anna I was gonna do these so that Anna's selling coasters for your vehicles. I don't know if you guys can see those. They say Area 51 Racing Podcast. They just slide right into your cup holder. Absolutely the coolest thing ever. It keeps your drinks nice and flat on in your cup holder so it doesn't shift around.
Yep.
They
And
have
they're easy to clean. So
Yeah.
when you do spill, you can pop them right out, wipe
Right.
them off, put them right back in.
I actually have 6 of them in my truck.
Why wouldn't you, Bobby? I mean,
I gotta represent.
when's the next time, you're gonna have 6 people in the car and they're gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna need something to drink.
Actually, all my cup holders usually have water in them or something.
Right. Then make Adrian sit in the back.
No, like we picked Savannah up from the airport, and I had a water right there, so she had it.
Right. No, I'm just
Yeah,
giving you a hard time.
if we're driving anywhere, I always have waters in there. That way, people have water.
Right.
So, reminder, stickygears.com, purchase our Area 51 Racing podcast t-shirts, just $15. A portion of that money goes to Jeremy Clements Racing. Also want to give a shout out to Armadillo Apparel. Dave and I both have on there. He's got on the hoodie and I've got on the polo. Absolutely the most comfortable item I have.
Yep. Yeah, it's stitched and it's not like stitchy. It's not flat ironed. They're actually embroidered.
Right.
It feels good.
So Jessica said I'm getting 2.
Okay. All right.
Want to give a shout out to Anna Amore Designs. Make sure you guys get your podcast stickers. Dave, this is yours. So Dave's having some trouble with getting his on the car, so I told him I'd come down when we get down there. I'm gonna put his sticker on his car.
Well, the thing is, I'm so damn meticulous about doing it, and
He rips it off. He's like a Band-Aid.
Right. I'm like, yeah, well, I got it on there, and then I just literally yank it off like a Band-Aid, and I'm like, ah, shit. There goes another $8 down the drain. All right, Bobby, I need to buy another one.
Yeah, I'll just put it on for you. It'll be all right.
Right. I gotta have experts come down. I gotta get the lady that makes them, to fly her down to Charlotte to put
Yeah, I
on
was gonna
the back of my
say,
car.
Anna's good at it, but I
Right.
think I've gotten better because I mean I did mine, or I had her do mine. I did Rob's on the back of his truck and it looked crisp. So I sent her a picture of it. Now I was like, and dude, I've taken them, and this is no joke. So these stickers, everybody's asked how sturdy they are. I actually took the pressure washer to this thing the other day when I was washing my truck, and I didn't do it on purpose, but I ran it across it. Never once buckled. I thought for sure it was going to come off, or at least something was going to come off of it. nice and smooth. I mean, it's the size. It's almost the size of that one behind me. But if you need anything, get a hold of Anna. She has tumblers, journals. She's got um, pretty much
Crazy.
anything that you guys can think of, she can make.
Yep. The shirt I have on underneath this, it got a little chilly, but I got my Pocono shirt on. So if you send her a picture of, your grandkids, or even if your kids are having a birthday party, just give her an idea and she'll make it absolutely wild.
She makes these slates too, and it's a picture of Dad and I. She made this for Christmas for me.
That's very
So
cool. That's the first time I've seen that particular one.
yeah,
I had seen a couple that she made for
my
another.
sister and my grandmother.
Yeah, I had seen a couple pictures, and those are pretty darn cool looking,
They're heavy too.
right?
But I keep that one right underneath Dad's Dale Jr. lamp that he had. So I have it right there. So when I pull the light, it shines down on it. But if you guys are looking for anything, she does coasters, koozies, cups, everything. So reach out to her. She'll let you guys know how much it is, and uh, be prepared. The Area 51 Racing Podcast t-shirts for our 100th episode, and sweatshirts. The designs are being made, and we will be, as soon as they get to Anna, we will advertise them, and I will get, it may or may not be on a website, not sure. But if it is, I'll let everybody know so everybody can order it and pre-order it, and then you guys will have them for our 100th episode.
Yep, and we do plan on having them out before the 100th episode. That way, you have them, before the 100th episode.
That way, if you come down to Charlotte, you can have them on too.
Yep, yep. I plan
Um,
on having one.
yep. I plan on maybe getting a polo with the logo on it.
That's because you're fancy, huh?
Yeah, damn right.
My Michael Kors, Area 51.
I might do that. Don't tempt me with a good time. Um, don't forget, Guy Beard Products is a partner of Area 51 Racing Podcast. Go to gollybeard.com, and on the discount code, type in Area 51 to get 15% off your order and free shipping. Remember to say, or make them say it, golly.
Golly.
I'm gonna get ready. I think I'm gonna order some this week. I didn't do it last week, like I said. Also, if you're looking for driven sunglasses, I know I said this about Kylie last week. Now it's our turn. So if you go to drivensunglasses.com, make sure you type in the discount code Area 51 Racing, and you will get a discount on that. Just same as Kylie. Um, I actually just bought or got new lenses for my slide jobs because I decided to jump in the ocean and then take my hands and go like this, and I took off the color off of the lenses. That was my bad. I shouldn't have jumped in with them because I knew better. But that was my bad. But also make sure that you go to circlebdiecast.com to go get those pre-orders. At the checkout, enter Area 51 and get $6 off shipping. Also, Benzik Designs on Etsy. If you guys are looking for, and I should have brought one over here, but
I was just thinking the same thing.
actually, Dave, talk for a second. I'll go grab one.
All right. So if you're not following the Racing Warehouse on Facebook for your Jeremy Clements racing sheet metal, like kind of what I have behind me here, they just made a stop at 9 different shops today, and they'll be putting new stuff out on the Facebook fan page. And if you go to theracingwarehouse.com, They'll be putting more and more stuff up, throughout the week. I was there today to pick up a special surprise that Rob's going to be bringing to your attention probably within the next week or two, about our 100th episode. But so we got that going on. Also, special thanks to Rick for joining the podcast today. That went way better than all of our guests. Kind of blow our minds. We kind of go into it and go, all right, we have a script. This is what we're gonna go off of. We don't even remotely touch what we think we're going to talk about. So, please continue to subscribe and like us on YouTube. That really means a lot to us. What that helps us do is bump us up in the running order for Area 51 Racing Podcast. And, the subscribers are what really helps us. And we love everybody that watches. And we definitely appreciate everything you guys do for us, and with us.
All right. Thank you, Dave. So this is the printing plate, which these are what the cars actually set on at the shop. And I just grabbed a car real quick and put it on here. They move, but this is what the plate looks like. And it's 3D printed, but it is absolutely awesome to be able to put a die cast on there.
Yeah. And the way that like Bobby has it set up in his little curio cabinet, if you've got light above it, the way it bounces up off that silver plate really makes the diecast pop.
Yeah, I don't have any of the lights over here, but this is this is what the stands look like. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold it without dumping them.
Right. So if you've got
There you go.
cars, yeah. And then he also makes some, if correct me if I'm wrong, that actually
He
can
makes
hang up
3
on the
tier and
wall.
4 tier.
Yep, and some of them can be hung if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what I did was I bought a couple just because I've got some loose cars hanging around. It frees up a ton of space for you to buy more. Instead of having them lined up on the table, now they're lined up vertically like a parking garage. So now you can fit 4 times more die cast than you could just 4. So
Well, right. So if because you've seen my cabinet,
yeah,
I had I had 4 cars in my cabinet,
yeah,
and now I have 11 on one shelf.
yeah,
So it made that big of a difference. So I've got 4, 3, and this is tiers. I got 4, 3, 4, 4, and then all my dad's diecast are on the bottom, and I've got those in those plastic cases, and I've got 5 high all the way around. So he's got more diecast at the bottom than I have in two shelves, but his is all the old school Earnhardt, and I don't want those just chilling out of their boxes or out of their cases.
yeah.
But
I admire Bobby's diecast collection. I'm more of a sheet metal guy, but I've caught the diecast bug and have started to consume more. But you know, Bobby definitely one ups me just about every time. If you don't know, Bobby's a huge Boston Red Sox fan, and he was just able to acquire what is it, the Trevor Bain and
that's the Trevor Bain and the Carl Edwards diecast, and the Trevor or the Carl Edwards car is actually sitting at RFK in their museum. And I already told Dave, I said I probably will cry when I see that car because I will be so damn excited to actually see it in person.
now. Have you seen the new Yankees car that's coming out?
Nobody cares about the Yankees. Don't even
Dude,
get me going.
do you see those baseball bats? They look like bowling pins.
Yes, that's fake. April Fools.
Where were we at?
We were talking about Matt Benzik, and now you threw me off with the damn Yankees. Nobody cares.
That was a hell of an 80s band, by the way, the damn Yankees. If you don't know who they are, look that up on YouTube. You'll be singing power ballads for the rest of the night. Can
But
you take me high?
oh, here we go.
I'm
Hey,
sorry.
Dave, calm down, calm down.
Calm down. All right, let me grab another swig of coffee real quick. I gotta go to bed tonight.
But if you type in the discount code for Matt Benzik, it's Area 51, and you get 20% off the order. Also, if you're interested in any merchandise from Kylie Glick Racing, go to kylieglick.racing.com. As usual, thank you guys for tuning in. Like Dave said, if you guys can, subscribe to our podcast. Go follow on Spotify, Facebook, X, Instagram at Area 51 Racing Podcast. I believe that's everything that we had for discount codes, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe
I'm
so
going
too.
through it real quick just to make sure. Yeah, I believe that's everybody. But yeah, if you guys are looking to get a hold of about those diecast sleeves or the trays or the template, let Dave, Rob, or I know. We'll get you in the right direction towards Matt. He just built a racetrack, a part of a racetrack, and it's the coolest thing ever. It's like I want to say it'll fit underneath my 75-inch TV if I get one. But he puts logos on it. They're pretty expensive, but pretty awesome looking. Want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors who make the podcast possible: Spartan Waste, Fox Sports Spartanburg, Harrison's, Action RV, Kylie Glick Racing, Mattman Designs, The Runner's Roost, Alliance Driveway Solutions, Anna Moore Designs, Circle B Diecast, Driven Sunglasses and Driven Trackside, Elite Towing and Recovery, High Speed Auto, Booze Pops, The Racing Warehouse, Armadillo Apparel, Belcher Cheesecake Company, Fly Inform Concrete Structures, First Pacific Funding, Sherfit Companies, Golly, Beard Products, Wings, etc., Dialed In Focus Pouches by Whitetail Smokeless, Benzik Designs, Enigma Tattoo Studio, Jeremy Clements Racing, and also Jeremy Clements, and Sachin Bacher Landscaping. I just wanted to thank everybody one last time for week in and week out tuning in with us. Dave, you got anything?
No, I mean, and even if you have questions on anything, I am old school. I'm just on Facebook. But if you want to, hit me up. I'm Dave Henderson, and I'm the only one in Gastonia, North Carolina. So if you want to hit me up and follow me on Facebook, I don't post a whole heck of a lot, but if you want to message me, and I do post, some pretty cool content, little stuff that I pick up. I'd be more than happy to share it with you, or if you got questions about the podcast, or how you can get involved with the podcast. I'd be more than happy to answer any of y'all's questions.
I know what I forgot real quick. One last thing. We are still doing the bumper drawing.
Oh yeah, forgot.
I figured I'd throw it out there. We have sold 31 tickets for this thing. And I am very thankful. So, guys, keep them coming. April 29th, we're doing the live show for it. I'm going to join Rob on his pre race at the end of the show to do the drawing. Like I said, if everybody keeps going on it, let us know. If you'd like it, it's 1 for 25 or 2 for 45.
Yep. And then you'll let them know how to get a hold of you, Bobby. It seems to be the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, if you either you can message the podcast page, or you can get a hold of me personally at Bobby Peters on Facebook. So, with that being said, y'all have a good night, and we will catch you guys next Tuesday. I think it's actually Rob on next Tuesday, and then we come back in 2 weeks.
And kids, look it up. Go on YouTube. Damn Yankees. Hell of a 80s band. You'll appreciate it if you do.
Y'all have a good night. We will see you guys next week. And Dave, stay safe in that weather. The next couple of days are not going to be pretty.
Nah, it's not going to be fun, but we're going to be all right. It's hurricane season and all that stuff's already started. So, but April showers bring May flowers. So we're
Yes,
looking
sir.
forward to it. And again, I appreciate all you guys that listen to me. You make it fun for me, and I wouldn't do it any other